Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to this video. All right, so we're going to talk about remote start, but in particular um, factory remote start system that's integrated into your car straight out the factory, and in some cases even modern remote start systems that are not original to the vehicle. All right. So essentially, if you guys have this problem, I'm gonna try to try to explain why this problem exists, and maybe we could try to find a fix for it. But if you guys have this problem where your remote start doesn't work sometimes, and it works sporadically, and if you use it often and it stops working after a couple of times, using the remote start a couple of times during the day, let me tell you guys what. All right. When I found out about this, I was really surprised that this is a thing. All right. If you guys think that there might be an issue with your remote start system, or maybe some kind of computer glitch, or some kind of issue with your remote start button of your alarm, it's not. Surprisingly, the it comes off the assembly line like that, where it actually restricts how many times you can remote start your vehicle per day, which, if I had to really think about it, is kind of crazy. Even with the reasons that car manufacturers give for putting a limit to how many times you guys can remote start a day. So essentially, the excuses are it cuts back on emissions, because a lot of times when you remote to start your vehicle, it's idling until you get into the vehicle to drive, and that idling period, maybe it's idling because it's cold out and you want to warm it up, or or if it's really hot out, you want to remote start it to cool it off before you get in. And that period where it idles and you let idle essentially creates more emissions for an environment. That is actually one of the reasons why they actually restrict remote start, the amount of times that you guys could actually use the remote start feature. The other big reason is, apparently it's one of those things that the computer might read that if you remote start too many times, it might sense that it's being tampered with, in a way where if your kid has remote and they're constantly using the remote to start the vehicle, etc., in those instances, that's another reason for why they restrict remote starting your vehicle. Which still, I would assume that maybe in older vehicles, as far as I can tell, in older vehicles, you could actually remote start your vehicle. There's no limits on it, etc. But essentially, in recent times, particularly with the politics of environmental causes and stuff like that, I think these car manufacturers actually put in those restrictions to how many times you can actually remote start your vehicle. But so let's actually go down a list of things you can do, as far as maybe getting that remote start feature back in a short period of time, if you guys have used it multiple times during the day. And I'm going to try to tell you guys how to how to maybe get around that. So I've heard that if you get into your car and if your remote start, if you used it a couple times a day and your remote start doesn't work, you can get into your car, turn on, turn it back off, and then maybe it'll remote start. But if you're going to do that, you're going to do that, you're probably going to use that remote start later in the day, but you'll probably be driving it anyway, and you'll be probably turning it on and off while you're out and about and stuff like that. But seeing as how this is built into the system, getting around it would be to facilitate getting around it so that you can use that remote start feature later in the day. All right, so there's you could try getting into your vehicle, turning the car on, and then putting your foot on the brake, and then press the remote start button 3 to 5 times. Somebody suggested that. I've seen that as a suggestion for this kind of fix, but there are obviously a lot of people who want to get around this problem, but I will tell you this, that this is not something that is just particular to a particular car manufacturer. All right, regardless of what car you have, whether it's Chevy, any of the GM cars, Chrysler vehicles, Ford, Nissan, Toyota, Mazda, etc., you're still going to have this particular restriction of the remote start. But here's something that I actually did come across. If you have this problem where your remote start doesn't work, you can try to sit in your car and then press the sequence on the remote to remote start. There's a chance that the light would flash. If you do it inside your vehicle, it might actually reset it so that maybe later in the day you could actually use it again. Or somebody else have suggested that you guys might have a low battery and you might want to just swap out that battery, but it kind of really depends if you actually have a low battery or maybe it's the remote start that's the problem. But obviously a low battery would actually cause remote start issues also. But regardless, if you guys have any of your own suggestions as far as getting resetting the limits on the remote start as far as the programming goes in your vehicle, I don't think you'll be able to do that as far as that's concerned. But if you guys do have a workaround on that, definitely leave a comment in the comments section. I don't think that's actually a valid workaround for something like that, and considering that the manufacturers actually restrict that. But if you have any comments, definitely leave a comment in the comments section. Please subscribe, please give me a thumbs up, all that good stuff. For guys, take care.